boy Jay, coming at you again from Freedom Train. First things first, if you haven't already done so, let's make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's the big red button down there that says subscribe, so you can make sure that you get all of our latest content. Okay, so today we're going to have another guest appearance from Bob Proctor. Now, Bob is really going to talk a lot about paradigms. Paradigms are your habits. Essentially, your habits make up the things that you become. So it's the habits, the things it is that you do every day, over and over again, that are getting the results that you're finding in your life. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, what does that have to do with me getting to financial freedom? And everything, that is. Because I might be able to teach you how to make $1 million, but it's more important that you become a millionaire before you have that $1 million, or else you'll end up being broke. I'm sure you've all seen it, the stories of the person that hits the lottery and 3 to 5 years later, before they can even get to the point of retirement, they're already back broke again. Someone once said that you could take all the money in the world and redistribute it equally among everybody there is, and within 5 years, the people that are rich now would be rich again. The reason that is because of the way that they think. And so, you want to first get your mind and get you geared towards thinking in the way that rich people think. There's a very good book that's going to be down there in the links below that I highly recommend, called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it talks about the differences between what rich people teach their children and what poor people teach theirs. And we want you to think like a rich person. So, without any further ado, I'm going to bring you on to Bob Proctor, Part 1. Have a great day, and thanks again for choosing us here at Freedom Train.
World, I earn millions of dollars. I have some wonderful friends, and I live an interesting life. When I wake up in the morning, I know that I'm going to be doing what I love all day long, and I'm going to be extremely well paid for it. But it wasn't always like that. I have to go back to 1961. And in 1961, a man gave me this book. And that's when everything in my life started to change. The book is Think and Grow Rich. And there was a huge shift in the direction of my life. Now, I'm not going to be on here long, maybe, an hour. But in that hour, I'm going to suggest that you could change everything in your life. You see, today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision. But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are. We have to make decisions. If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going. And when we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction. Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are. Now, I had something pretty interesting happen. When I committed to study this material every day and follow proven direction, the change that took place was enormous. And it can be for you. Now, there's one thing that you absolutely require if you're going to make a big change, and that's discipline. See, without discipline, nothing happens. Now, I found that discipline is the ability to give ourselves a command and then follow it. Now, I'm going to suggest as we go through this, and I suggest you make some decisions. Don't look at somebody else and say, what are you going to do? You see, what they're going to do has absolutely nothing to do with where you're going. It's what are you going to do? That's what really makes the difference. Now, I've worked with tens of thousands of people all over the world. And I've watched some absolutely phenomenal changes take place. I've watched kids go from a C&D average to an honors mark almost overnight. I would have difficulty counting all the people that have gone from ordinary incomes to multi-million dollars. You see, earning money is not difficult. It's just that hardly anyone knows how to do it. And for good reason. We can go right to our school system and no one ever teaches us how to earn money. And for good reason, they don't know how to earn money. Now, is earning money all this is about? Absolutely not. This is about living the way you want to live. Now, I've been traveling all over the world. I started to study this, and great change took place, and then I wanted to know why I changed. And so I started to study it from a different perspective. I want to know what happened to me, which I'll talk again about in a moment. And so I began to study, and then when I figured it out, got the dots to connect, all I wanted to do was share it with other people. And everywhere I've gone around the world, I have found that people are essentially the same. Now, I've worked in China, I've worked in South America, I've worked in Australia, New Zealand, all over Asia, across all over North America, and certainly all over Europe. And people are essentially the same. Doesn't matter where you go. I don't care if you're in Shanghai, in Kosovo, or New York City. I have found that there's three things. Frequently after a seminar, I'll sit around and I'll chat with some of the people, maybe that were late leaving the room, and I'll call them aside and I'll say, what do you really want? And I've found that not everybody wants to be really wealthy. But what they do want, they want to eliminate any financial concerns. In other words, if they want to get a new car, they want to be able to get it. If they want to take a trip, they want to be able to take the trip. Or if they see a sweater or a dress or a suit they'd like, they want to be able to buy it. They don't want to be wondering, am I going to have enough to pay the mortgage? They want to eliminate financial concerns. The second thing they want is they want to wake up in the morning and be excited about how they're going to spend their day. See, a lot of people are tied up in traffic, going to a job they don't like, working for somebody that is possibly even incompetent. You got to spend your days doing what you absolutely love to do. And the third thing, they want to mix with people who were really upbeat, who are enthusiastic, people that are becoming very creatively productive. Now, that is a pretty good way to live. You don't have any financial concerns. You spend your days doing what you love with people who are upbeat and creatively productive. That's a good way to live. That's the way I live today, but it wasn't always like that. No, it sure wasn't. I had a man sit down with me, and he did essentially what I'm going to do with you right now. He said, Bob, I want you to take a look at the results you're getting in your life. Really take a look at the results. And then he got me to think. He said, how do results happen, Bob? How do they actually happen? And I didn't know. He says, do results just happen? Well, of course, results don't just happen. And this is where the man approached me back in 1961. He said, I want to magnify the results that you're getting in your life. Really take a close look at it. Because he said people are just falling short in a couple of areas. And he pointed out that we're only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. In other words, we got to stay focused and we've got to use our imagination to build the kind of world we really want. Now, I think that's what you want to do. That's what I want to do. I don't think you were looking for something to do when you sat down to watch this. You see, I believe that you do want to improve the quality of your life. And a man named Ray Stanford sat down with me a long time ago in 1961. And he put an R on a sheet of paper. And then he put an H. He said, Bob, that's happiness. He said, that represents health. And that represents wealth. Now, he said, I want you to look at those three areas of your life. Are you getting what you want to get? Are you doing what you want to do? He said, I'm going to tell you something about results. Results always tell the truth. By their fruits you'll know them. Results always tell the truth. You can kid yourself all over the place if you want, but look at the results. I have people, they'll tell me how much they know about this or about that. Take a look at the results. The results tell the truth. If you're playing golf, the scorecard tells the truth. You see? Now think. Your bank account tells the truth. Your sales tell the truth. Your position in life, the health of your body. And he looked at all these areas and he said, do you think I'm a healthy guy? And I said, yeah, you seem pretty healthy to me. He said, have you ever seen me sick? I said, no. He said, have you ever seen me broke? No. You think I'm a happy guy? And I said, yeah. He was a healthy guy, happy, always had a roll of money on him. Well, he said, you know something? You're one of the most miserable people I've ever met. And I was. And he said, you're always sick. And he said, you're always broke. Now, he was being kind. I was earning $4,000 a year at the time. But look at this. I owed $6,000. That is not a good position to be in. You see, if I had taken every cent I earned for 18 months and paid debts, I would have just broken even. It was an impossible situation. He said, Bob, why don't you change your results? Do you know something? I honestly don't believe that ever entered my mind. I really don't. You say, well, it must have. No, I don't think it did. I think I got up in the morning and I just went to work. I did whatever I was doing and hoping things would get better, but never sitting down and talking to someone that really knew how to make it happen. If you want to fly a plane, you don't go to a barber and ask them, how do you get the plane off the ground? If you want to learn how to dance, you don't go to a mechanic. You go to a damn good dancer. It doesn't matter what you want to do. If you're going to do something, go to someone who has demonstrated results. Now, this guy had demonstrated he was happy, he was healthy, and he was wealthy. And he said, do you ever read anything? And I said, no, I can't read. Now, that wasn't true. I could, not well, but I could. And that's when he introduced me to this book, Think and Grow Rich. And he said, Bob, if you do exactly what I tell you, and you study this book and do exactly what the author tells you, he said, everything in your life will change. Now, he said, the man that wrote this book, Napoleon Hill, spent his whole life putting this together. It contains the best thinking of over 500 of the world's most successful people. Listen, I've been reading this one now since 1961. Now, think about that. That's a long time. He said he spent his whole life writing this. He says, I think it would be a very prudent move on your part if you spent your life trying to understand and apply it. Now, I don't know why, but I decided I would. Now, let me explain where I was starting from. I told you I was earning $4,000 and I owed $6,000. See? I had 2 months high school. 2 months high school. That was my formal education. I had never had a half-decent job. I just bounced from one job to another, in the bar, working in a bar, in the Navy, out of the Navy, working in factories. I'd never had a half-decent job. Now,